Hello, everyone. This is Towns, one of your wonderful ninth grade math teachers. I am here in my apartment, and I'm getting ready to show you how to set up your MATLAB documents. Now, this is a three-part series, all right? Three parts. So that means that after you watch this first video, there's going to be two more that you have to watch to be successful, all right? So let's get started. In this video, I'm going to teach you how you share the folder you just created with your teacher to get credit, and also so your teacher can help you track your progress throughout the year. And then the second thing I'm going to show you is how to actually look through the pre-assessment you took on on Wednesday and Thursday about fractions and mixed numbers, and how you're going to actually use that in this next task. All right, so let's get started. First thing you should have with you is, one, you should have that small slip of paper that just has your name at the top and shows on each question on the pre-assessment, there were 26 of them. It should show you which ones you got right and wrong, and it should show you your percentage. So you need that. That's the first thing you need. Second thing is you should have your computer like I'm on, and you should have your Google Drive open to the folder that you just created. All right. And that's it. All right. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you my screen really quickly so you can see what I'm doing. So now you should see my screen. So let's check this out. If you go to your Google Drive, you will not have all of this, but you will have this folder. It should have your last name, comma, your first name, and it should say -MATLAB portfolio. All right, get to that. What you're going to do is called sharing this with your teacher. This is extremely important because if it's not shared with the right person, you're not going to get credit, and it just doesn't make sense to have done it. So what you're going to do is click this little person here, or if you don't have that, it should say share somewhere at the top. If you don't have either of those things, you can double click with both fingers and you should see share right there. But the point is you want to get to share. So let's click this, share. Here I'm actually going to enter my teacher's first name. So if you have Towns, you're going to enter his first name, Ronald. And if you notice, there are two Ronalds that come on. Ronald Towns, that's your teacher, and Ronald Thompson. A lot of people are weird. They send stuff to Ronald Thompson. You don't want to do that. You want to send to ronald@envisionacademy.org and then hit send. If you are Miss Elliott's student, you want to type in TARYN for Taryn, and you should see Taryn Elliott. Click that and then hit send. All right, so let's do that together. So if I'm Towns' teacher, if I'm Towns' student, I'm going to hit Towns and then hit send. All right, cool. It should say shared with one person. Done. That's step one. The next step is you're actually going to go in and start doing some work in your folder. So you're going to click this. You should have three things in here. Two should be documents, and then one should be this. If you don't have this, you need to go back to the directions your teacher provided you to actually make this, because otherwise you're gonna not do well on this assignment because you don't have what's required. So the first thing we're gonna click on is this, fractions and mixed numbers pre-assessment. Yours may have your first and last name at the front. It doesn't matter, just click on the fractions and mixed numbers pre-assessment item analysis. What is the point of this document? That's a great question. The point of this is you are actually going to go through your quiz and figure out which questions you got right and wrong. Then at the end, after you figure out for each question which ones you got right and wrong, you're going to think about, okay, on each of the skills are topics. So like understand what a fraction means, locate a fraction on the number line, find the equivalent fraction, so on and so forth. Which are the skills of these that I need to work on the most? The way you're going to do that is figure out the number of questions that you got incorrect for that skill. You're going to type all that in here, and you're going to answer the questions below. We'll get to that later. How are you going to do that? If you look here, you see it says question 1. Here is the skill. Your teachers have so conveniently put the skill in. What this skill was for question 1 was understanding what a fraction means. If you got that right, you're gonna type right in here. If you got it wrong, you're gonna type wrong. How will you know if you got it right or wrong? Look at that little slip your teacher gave you and it'll say whether you got it right or wrong. Same thing for question 2. You're gonna go through and look at that slip and see, did you get it right or wrong? If you got it right, type right. If you got it wrong, type wrong. You're gonna do that for each of these. So I'm not gonna do all of them, but let me do a few more. All right. So you're gonna fill all of this out until you finish. So go ahead and do that. If you need to pause this video to do that now and then push play later. After you do all of this, you're gonna answer these first reflection questions. It says, how many questions did you get incorrect on each skill? So the first skill is understand what a fraction means. You're just gonna write the number of questions incorrect for this skill, not for the whole test, but just for this skill. Understand what a fraction means. The way I do that is I'm gonna go back up and I see that here there are 4 questions where the skill was understand what a fraction means. Out of those 4, I got 3 of them wrong. So I would put 3 out of 4. And I would figure out, I know that that's 75%. So that means that 75% of the questions for that skill I got wrong. The other option I could do is just write 3. It doesn't really matter as long as you remember that there were 3 out of 4 questions that you got incorrect. And that's okay. The point of this is that we're honest with each other. You're gonna do the same thing for the questions that have locate a fraction on the number line. So you see that there are here 4 questions for that. Let's say that I got this one right and this one right. Sorry. I see that for these 4 questions, I got how many wrong out of 4? I got 1 wrong out of these 4. So I would go down here again for this one and type 1, or I could type 1 out of 4. And I know that that's 25%. If you're struggling with percentages, you could just divide the 1 divided by 4, and then you would get the percentage. So you're gonna do that for each of these skills. Now, again, if you need to pause this in order to do these calculations, go ahead and pause and you can come back there. Let's say that after I finish this, let's say that these are my results, right? What I'm gonna do in question 2 is it says list the skills that you need to work on below. The thing is, I see all of these I could use some work on because I got questions incorrect on each of these skills. But as a human being, it's not possible for me necessarily to study everything at the same time. So I have to do something called prioritize. What prioritize means is I'm actually going to figure out which skills I need to work on now and plan backwards. The way I'm going to do that is if I see that I got 5 incorrect for these, I know that I need to study these more than I probably need to study these. The other thing I could think about is if I know that like I need to know what a fraction means first before I can find equivalent fractions, I know that while I may need to get to this one, I also need to know this first before I can do this one. Let me explain that again. I could look at the number I got incorrect and say that that's the first skill that I want to work on if I got more incorrect for that skill. The other thing I should think about is, do I need to know something before I can do this? So for example, if one of the skills I want to work on is compare the size of 2 fractions, I probably need to make sure I understand what a fraction means first before I can do this. So that's going to help me prioritize my studying. So in the space below, you're going to list the skills in order of what you need to work on. So since I know that I need to work on this before I can work on this, which is what I want to get to, I'm going to type this one first. So I'm going to type this. That's a little copy and paste action for you. I'm going to type this one. I know I need to work on equivalent fractions. I also know I need to work on these 2 because I seem to have gotten the most wrong out of here. So there are 4 skills that I know I need to work on, all right? So that's the next thing, all right? So once you do that, you should have filled out this whole thing. Then this, you wanna pause this video and then make sure you have everything right. And then you're gonna go to the second video, which will help you fill out the other documents as well as finish filling out this document. Thanks.